Hello, hello! Hi! You have vanquished the burrito! I'm so proud of you, my love. Oh, okay. It's back. Are you trying to match the objection? Are you trying to eat my finger? My love, how could you? Anyway, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember what happened last time. I think we saw a hot, mean lesbian. That's it. That's all I remember. So we can keep going with that. Thank you, Bax. So, yeah. We love... She should be testifying soon, so... You know. Oh, yeah. If you would like to, Bax, that'd be very nice. I can finish off my my monster whilst you do. Recap away.
About to be Maxwelled.
Wait, I could do something so funny, chat. That's okay. I hope you have fun playing Minecraft. Let me just...
So we meet the lesion that is the emotions guy's older sister, and she hates layers and oranges. There's a robot with tips for some mad resin. The accused has PTSD and anxiety, and the lesbian subtly seen the murder happen but couldn't see who from a small ass window. All she could see was a logo and that they used a lighter. The astronaut guy knows what the log is from.
Wait, let me do it again and fix this, fix the spellings. Alright, nearly. Okay, there we go.
So we meet the lesbian that is the emotionless guy's older sister, and she hates lawyers and prosecutors. There's a robot with tits for some mad reason. The accused has PTSD and anxiety, and the lesbian supposedly seen the murder happen but couldn't see who from the small ass window. All she could see was a logo and that they used a lighter. The astronaut guy knows what the logo is from.
There we go. I fixed it. But yeah, if at any point I'm not responding and you have the points in which to do so, just use Yappy Cat. That's why I finally got it working. I spent so long trying to get Yappy Cat working and then nobody even uses it. Poor Vinny. Vinny. What if I lowered Yappy Cat to 300? Okay. I'll lower Yappy Cat to 300. How about that? Don't worry, my dear. Look, okay, Bax, not everyone's rich like you. Okay, viewer awards, power-ups and channel points. Okay. I made it even cheaper.
Woo-woo.
See, aren't I nice? Ah, I set it on. Okay, one sec. Try now. No, I put it on a timer. It's not scuffed. My stream isn't scuffed for once. You know, my stream is only scuffed when you're here. You're like bad scuff luck. Bad scuff luck for me.
Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats. and rats make me crazy. Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room with rats, and rats make me crazy. Suffer the scuffed Nobah.
This is what I get for making things affordable for my subjects. This is unacceptable. I see how it is. Fine. Well, we might as... What? No, please, what? Bring what back? This? Huh? What point? What do you mean? I don't know why. Should still be there. Yeah, it should still be there. Did it come back? Oh, okay. Silly. Okay, well, onto the game, I guess. We've been in this for 17 minutes now, so longest intro, well, not longest intro, one of the longest intro ever was an hour long. Anyway, into the gameplay. There we go. Oh my god! Oh. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something.
Fredbear's Family Diner. William Afton and Henry opened in 1967 the family-friendly Fredbear's Family Diner, featuring a brown furry suit of a bear as a mascot. Henry would usually wear the suit, as they didn't have enough money to hire someone to do the job for a long time and they were studying at the time. William studied engineering and Henry business administration and communication. William met an unnamed woman, with whom he married and 3 years later had a boy child, Michael.
You know, I don't have anything to pause or stop these, right? Like, I'm just here suffering. This is not why. See, when the powers will lower the prices, the peasants will take advantage. Bomb. Yeah. Bomb.
You have 13 seconds until the courtroom blows up, you blue gumball son of a bitch, and you hot top economy.
Yeah. Your Honor, could you please come out of under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. He has PTSD. Oh yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, the first courtroom exploded. Then Mr. Tonate self-destructed. I guess that's one way for describing what happened to Tonate. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions, so you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Do you have an understanding of what's happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I think he's asleep. Oh, never mind. I take it you'd like to give me to give the opening statement this time. Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Hi. Oh. Wrong baby girl. It's okay. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from the Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The true astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was a mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were two people who claimed to be first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? Do you think one of them might have given false testimony to the police? Yeah, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow. He killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of the trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has this thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim. To make such reckless claims in the courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already, old man? Objection! Fuck you! We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. Oh, okay. Apollo left. Apollo said, I'm taking a leave of absence, Mr. Wright. I've got to go do my investigation. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. My favorite thing. Wait, let me check. How. So he's 28. Ah, there's no Phoenix profile. I don't know how old Phoenix is in this. He's your mean lesbian. Pretty Jean's just running their family. Yeah. She's older. hot as fuck. Anyway. Funko! Yeah. Also, for some reason, Kirby really simps for this man. She was like, oh my god, a gilf? And I was like, Kirby, no, get better standards. Anyway. Anyway. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure. At the scene. They saw a third person? I see my sister has already been running her mouth. That's right. I almost forgot that Aura is prosecuted Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there's no evidence to indict that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility is that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Very well. Bailiff, please bring in the witness to the stand. Damn, they let him hear. Why, I believe I've seen you in the newspapers. Of course you have. Of course you have, for I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and... Shut the fuck up. Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Ha-ha! I see this fine young lad is a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epic testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge, Terran laying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after that, the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity! But what I said is what I saw. And what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had to peek from far away. Well, that would be telling Bax if he did. Is the defense ready to cross-examine this witness? Yes, Your Honor, I have nothing. Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. 90% of his face in there is just eye bags. Alright, guys. We're just pressing everything. Where were you coming from? The 6th floor. We were making sure any stranglers had made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Terrain and hurried down to the 3rd floor lounge. He boobily bounced to the testimony. Oh my, galactic scooter here, of course. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Oh, of course, it's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships. I see. I take it works in 0G too? Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless. Well, that's a galactic bummer. I see. So you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. And when you got to the scene, what did you see? We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. Hold it. Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gotten there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in a haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow from behind her. I see. So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room and... we saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terrain laying on the floor. How could you know that? It was pitch black. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing? Sadly, the only thing I could tell was the person was a person standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? I'm so close, but without evidence I can't prove that that person's the third party. I don't relish in this, and... I hate to say it, but I could only imagine that the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time, but other than that I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So, for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, is that correct? I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who is capable of murder. Objection. When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director? Yes, that is right. Only Starbuck and Terran were not there at the time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd. Objection. Look, he did it again for you. And the reason the figure appeared to vanish was because of the defendant. And when the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold on. Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant. It lasted about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. We have that. If you took your eyes off the scene, then the third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well, it is real. That's so real. We're just talking about possibilities. We could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor in lunar research used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for whatever we've done to it. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory of a work of fiction, boss. Sorry, one sec. My ear is itchy. Oh my god, was that a Sailor Moon reference? See? See? He's making anime references. He's a weeb. And he's right. I don't have any proof yet, still. The southern door was a possible escape route. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha ha ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts that the detectives told her that they were the killer. Oh. Well, you're telling me you don't want to kiss Phoenix Wright? I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then... BAM! She fired 2 warning shots into the shadowy... 2? But we... 1! Aw. This information about Detective Arm's actions seems critically important. Please add it to your testimony. But there was only 1. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Okay, is it... Objection! Yeah. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my words? Words that would someday be written down in history books? Yes. Somehow, I don't think those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Detective Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book. Objection. Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. Ah. But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet vanish to? Oh. Itabaidi! You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun. It is the same caliber as the detective's gun. This is from a 10 caliber handgun. 10, not 38. What? He brings evidence. He's bringing evidence. He's so helpful. The 38, yeah, they're different sizes. I think, yeah, so the 0.38 millimeter one, caliber one even, is bigger, I believe. Yeah, it's bigger. The rifling marks also show up. You didn't call it the ballistic marks! There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Rifling marks? They're like a gun. Ah, the gun's fingerprints! The gun's fingerprints on a bullet! The fingerprints of the gun! The gun fingerprints, ballistic marks. And examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a 38 caliber, huh? I'd better update the record. Very good. Now we know the fate of both shots from that the Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Huh. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up anything? No. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a 38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence we found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh? Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person? Because look, that's a massive difference. And what is this metal pellet supposed to be? Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's 38 calibers. Then that means... Exactly. Oh, wait. Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. He's literally just on a fucking Segway. And if that's true, that explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Aha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mysterious person fired upon us. What's this now? Why are you stupid, my love? What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Ha ha! Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person this whole time. Baby. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. What I really saw. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Haren there on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us.
Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to be the defendant?
Not necessarily. It's still a possibility that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have the security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down.
Ah?
Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy was the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Where did he hide the gun, dipshit? But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police, nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if it was a third party who took it with them.
Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
He couldn't have, the power was out. But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence.
What evidence? I have in fact forgotten.
Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all. That tells us he's the culprit.
Ah, fuck, I did forget about that. Oh, me too.
It look, your boldness, how deliciously oblivious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine.
Well, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Fettuccine.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So, does that mean you're a ghost? I was wondering when you would realize it, your boldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Eh! He's fucking with him. Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman.
Your boldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
He really said,
Your boldness, please stop being a little bitch.
Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. Oh, you can see the bullet hole here. What? He does. He's like, no, you're not the boss of me. That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh, wow. Yeah. You were right, Bax. What do you mean? I have to check this. Oh, wow, look at that. There's one extra gay star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really think like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide these things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it's sounding fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Hello, Billy! Hello! Beep, beep. All eye bags. I love him.
But... that's in the north. Ah. Wait. Do we... there you go. You hit the meow meow. Hi. Hi, baby. She's stepping up onto my chair. She tried to fucking slide in behind me when I leaned forward. I lean forward for 5 seconds and she's like, don't mind if I slip in here. So, in other words, you were fired at whilst you were at the control room door. That's correct. There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos is... the bullet that this person fired hit you, isn't that right? Yes, it was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet figure... ah. And whilst he was there, he was shot at by somebody with a 10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm a king of all the cosmos. Oh, I present the bullet again. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great corps a glorious lie. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? Yeah. My accusation is based off the position of the two people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mysterious figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired the gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have travelled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Gah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
And don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his medal? Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
But, in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I don't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? What are you getting at? His theme! Use your own brain. Your head must have some other use than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick up on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired them. And that's why the bullet was found to the south. Ah, that makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door rather than the is a rather favourable for the prosecution. How about it, Director, if you don't tell the truth this time? Oh dear God. Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away! You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. It is. What the fuck, bro? This is the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far! And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning that the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition, and the door beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door, and the only way to get through that is with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would have been no escape for any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. He's so short! Oh my god! Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I had said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit would have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there would have been a third person. And all I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for the third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? He's so tiny. It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes! The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. Yeah. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other? And what if that person entered the lounge? And then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict. Objection! Your mum. Please, wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene, and that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person that could have escaped from the boarding lounge?
Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room, after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of this third person is our current witness. Detective Yuri Cosmos. Director Yuri Cosmos. My apologies. What? What? Order! Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I said that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered into the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that. Saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. I've been hit. I must have been hit on the starboard side. Captain Wright, it's the direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you have told a lie on this court once again. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called in reinforcements. That's the Cosmos control center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality. But my ship will not go down, if anything, to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
But I do have evidence, in fact. You could say your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person or a Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun, and in return the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Aha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mysterious person fired upon us. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different relevance than before. Huh? Once we compare it against the other piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one in the lounge. Brace for further impact! Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove you are in the lounge.
Take that!
The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos's medal. If we have that ricochet mark on the medal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you were the third person we've been looking for. The bridge is destroyed. Losing altitude. All hands abandon ship. If it's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No, you've got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again. It's a miracle I'm not going down yet. Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history books to say what a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Oh, hi, Athena. Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of Cosmos Space Center? No, but I am, you bitch. But the cosmos revolves around me! Look at him go. Someone get me off this thing! Order in the court, and will somebody please stop the witness from spinning? Good God! Phew. Oh, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the medal. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Nah. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you've got it all wrong. This is just some sort of misunderstanding. Is he gonna start piling on more lies? Looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big lie tell the truth. Damn, we've already been going for an hour? Holy shit.
Wow. Okay, cool. Cool. Wait, cheese toasty.
Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me, I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I have only one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly?
A bad person. I guess it's like the same as calling somebody a bitch, but in polite old English. Let me just, Yeah, literally, an aggressive or unkempt dog, especially a mongrel. He's calling him a bitch! A mangy looking cur. Oh my god, carrot. It also means a despicable or cowardly person. I googled it for you. The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped into the control room. Then I went past the elevator and all the way round to the boarding lounge 1 again. I came behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see. So then, are you still insinuating that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived to the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness.
Now hold on just one moment. We proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Miss Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw, I'm gonna kill myself, was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, then why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to make the fall.
That is an excellent point.
All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for the third person.
Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So, Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof?
I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct?
Yes, and?
Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me.
The director's not fibbing to the court for once. I can confirm he has an alibi for this time specified. So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m.? And that you arrived on into the lounge after that?
Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see that face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling.
As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. What I really witnessed. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot, but when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and well, the launch pad door, one door, and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. So, were you shot at by the killer as well, and then they just disappeared? Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terrain's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into, so let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terrain and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right. But it actually hit Mr. Terrain's oxygen tank and ruptured it. Then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit, I tried to hide myself when I was shot, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate, but what I found was Terrain with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene and had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence.
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as yourself, such as you, can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him do not understand. Oh, that might be the first true statement he's said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director in Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you first saw this person, did you see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, Right Dono. I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This might just help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him, You got it, boss! I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. She's gonna hack me body! As I tried to enter the lounge, fired a gun at me. I had to avoid getting shot at. But when I tried to get another look, they disappeared into thin air. I was near the elevator side door. And well, the launch pad 1 door and the control room door should have been all shut tight to the killer. Talk about mixed feelings, he must be trying to account for a number of contradictions. Mr. Wright, maybe this time we shouldn't look for contradictory emotions. We should also look for emotions that should be there but aren't. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that his mind is a convoluted place too. He must have felt very shaken and distressed at the time. Let's focus on the fluctuations in his emotions and see what we can uncover. Why are you not shocked? It's like he expected him not to be there. You must have thought it very strange that the killer vanished in the thin air. Hello? Oh my god. Thank you for following, Franziska von Karma. This is mildly terrifying, but I very much appreciate it. I don't think I've ever been so scared in a singular stream before, though. Have fun tuning into the stream, and I hope you enjoy watching me. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. It's, it was just unexpected, you know. Anyway. I did. This kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet at the time you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. It's not. It's let me make this, let me make it a little bigger so it can be seen, but it's actually meant to be my cat. Just make it a bit. There we go. It's a little cat. I am very large. I don't know if I was this size before, but... No, I feel like I was bigger than that. There we go. That okay? That's fine. He's a little meow meow. I did. I put my cat in an orb. She spins. She's a little kitty, aren't you, Vinny?
Help me, she has trapped me in this orb for 300 years. I'm hungry, please let me out.
She's just a baby. Yeah. She's just a little baby. She's watching. She's watching the stream. Aren't you, Vinny? Oh, you want the cuddles? Yeah, she wants cuddles. That is, yeah, that's the actual cat. If my webcam wasn't halfway across the room, I would put cat cam on, but no, she's the actual kitty. Vinny? Vinny? Hey. Vinny? Oh, Vinny, no, you're gonna fall off the bed. No, she does sound like a soundboard sometimes. Oh, Vinny responds to everything, don't you, baby? Yeah, you talkative. You chatty kitty. She's a good girl. I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went, isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room, and the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. I don't, but I should get one of that. That's actually a really good idea. But don't worry, give me but a moment, and there will be a very happy cat in our midst. There will be a very happy cat indeed. I'm not going to give her more wet food. I'm getting her treat bag.
please. Yep, you actually have to take the treat in order to eat it. Vinny? Good girl. She getting a whole treat stick. Good girl, Vinny. She doesn't even bother biting these. She is a fully grown cat. She is about 5 or 6 years old. 4 or 5. Let's just go. She's about 5 years old. She does. That's it, Finny. The treat's gone. You good girl. You gonna say thank you? Finny, you gonna say thank you? There you go, baby. Good girl. She's so happy. She's a good girl. She is smelly, though. She's so smelly. She's like the smelliest cat ever. Let me just... She is smelly. Have you smelt her? Yeah. Vinny can say hello, and she says hi sometimes. That's what Vinny does. Like in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll say hi, Vinny, and she'll go hi. She's a good girl. She has left now, though. She has decided that she because she's not getting any more treats. Vinny, when wet food is involved, she gets like that. She'll do anything for the great taste of wet food. She's so fussy, she will refuse to eat dry food until she's had her wet food. But you can't mix them because she won't eat them then. She's fussy as hell. As for the southern door... It's okay. I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run. Maybe, or maybe not. You went in the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Turan, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it, as you recall, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing towards it with it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised that the killer vanished. So you're absolutely certain that there was no escape route for the culprit to use? Yeah, Vinny... So I've gone through... I have 2.5 kilo bags of dry food in my room that Vinny just won't eat because she doesn't like it. She can't stand it. So I have to get her Go-Cat, Whiskers, or Felix for food. Otherwise, she just won't eat it. She's fine with wet food. She's not as fussy with that. There is one brand that she won't like, and I think it's like a Tesco own brand, but, you know, I'm not giving my cat Tesco own brand. It's working, boss. One more punch and it should be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him! Okay, back to the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. As I try to enter the lounge, it fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look... Why are we sad? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door. The great Yuri Cosmos, afraid? A fucking Sheba is well expensive. And on what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any base or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I most certainly am not.
Director Cosmos, there's something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Well, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input these 2 pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo. Let's Discord.
Us after downloading the illegal version of Discord.
It looks like we're on the right track.
Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Discord, we're not howling at the moon. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door at the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad door, one door. When you put these 2 puzzle pieces together, one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. The culprit went through the launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes, I mean, no! Disaster to the starboard! We're going to crash into an asteroid! Master Tactician, you are not.
But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it?
True, but that's still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. But the door, only Starbuck, Terran and I could have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's an easy way he could have gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. I sometimes know what I'm doing. This is great. That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anyone could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device screen. Ah! It looks like he does have something to hide about Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Not really, Your Honor. Huh? Oh, yes, by all means. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1, right? The one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? Oh, shit, that was Phoenix. Whoops. If the culprit escaped into Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell bro? I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your boldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my, the footage cuts off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged, most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea, too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try and show off too much, Grandpa Boldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little bit about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside this issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, would you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. Then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped through the launch pad. Oh. The launch pad. Right? No, 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 What do you think about Detective Cosmos's emotional responses, Athena?
Actually, my cat is really sick, you know.
What? Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that.
And on top of that, my dog just doesn't seem to want to play with me.
What story made you feel sadder? The story about your cat, of course, is only natural. Exactly, that would be the natural reaction. But there's nothing natural about the director's reaction. Think about how each individual reaction changes across the whole testimony. That will be the key.
Why can't you just tell me, Athena? I'm stupid. It sounds unnaturally complicated.
Never mind. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Where's Kirby when I need her? No. I can't imagine any situation in which they'd be happy. Oh, okay. Because it got stronger. Well, I mean, the blue is for fear, and I can imagine you'd probably be quite scared when you're getting shot at. That's just like... It's odd. See, so it can be both, but in this context it's been identified as fear. I don't know. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective found you, and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yeah, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me. First, you were surprised when Detective found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact you were... Sure, you were surprised when Detective shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. Houston, they fucking found us out. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Your Desk. Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launchpad door. And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change before and... oh, okay. Can I go back, please? Maybe we can spot some change before he came into the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo after the crime scene. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is the footage of the door before Detective Cosmos arrived. Da 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 da.
And this is how the door looked like after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that! There is a change. Something's definitely different. Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answers to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. That answer clearly lies in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. The answer is this knob. Knob. That's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob... knob. Next to the launch pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. It went from flaccid to erect. And what does that mean? It means sometime before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Can it stop saying knob? Could it not have used the word dial? Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you doing by trying to turn that knob by the door? Yeah, they were playing with knobs' backs. Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad is fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped onto the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch pad site. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? I guess there's still something we have to uncover. No, these aren't translation errors. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us more about moving the launch pad in more detail. Fine. But listen carefully, for I'm about to make history-making testimony. Blackwell doesn't like the constant mention of knobs. He's too British for this. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. I feared there may be more explosions, so I had to cut the launch pad loose. Surely only the only escape the killer had was through launch pad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke. Confounded! Where on earth could they have gone? Yeah! Creases Jordans! Woo! Anyway. Bonk! The director seems driven into a corner now. I can tell he's having a hard time hiding his true feelings. Just one more final push then. His attempts to conceal the truth shouldn't be all that hard for us to break through. If we keep at it calmly, I'm sure we'll cross the finish line. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself. How did you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? That's the power of analytical psychology. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we discovered up until this point, I have to believe that we're trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. How do you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less a pro? I'm guessing. But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. Even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there. I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence.
Shh. Oh, he's speaking again. You, a man of integrity, don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What's come over him all of a sudden? You've sprouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up onto the stand. You're not any kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Annals. Not for greatness anyway, unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor. Liar? Well, his words have bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosion? My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves betrayed you. What? You know, just as a thought, but modern English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you immediately following the bombing. Launchpad 1 was on the boarding 1 lounge side. The police confirmed this on the scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launchpad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that somebody turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have gone somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we might just find where the killer escaped to. Ah! You're sure it must have went somewhere? We might just find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to do so, boy? Haha! He came back! He weren't letting that one rest. Ah! He does. Talk about hitting below the belt. He punched you in the dick. Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident, and then after the incident, the director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot? All he had to do was turn the knob and call the launch pad back. And it'd be right where the police found it. Oh no, he got his fucking thing. Oh, never mind, he has another one. You made him sigh, just like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. Our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad exists beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. In fact, it has been recorded for posterity on a filmless film. Oh, right. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus, you dumb bit. We know the launch pad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are direct contradictions of each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never boarded the rocket. The footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. Oh, on second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe, huh? Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launchpad area, instead went to another place? And what if, when the director moved Launchpad 1, it was not back from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull, or I'll cut you. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right, but it was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor, let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was to switch it with another place. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could possibly have he switched the Launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and I clicked the wrong answer, didn't it? Oh, never mind.
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum was used to be Launchpad 2. But it has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean? The rocket and the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. Just regular Yappy Cat. Oh, right. That's I don't know what that does. I don't know if I have that set up, I'm sorry. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Balderdash. Sorry, my voice broke a little there. And yet, that's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. That's how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter the Launchpad 1 from the Boarding Lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from Boarding Lounge 2. Welcome, welcome! The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 AM to 7 PM. Exactly, anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on the door. In other words, the two launch pads switched like that. Someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted the bomb. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into the Boarding Lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. And the killer left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Yeah. Right, Dono, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Was that a euphemism? Perhaps I should call you Swordmaster Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who's cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence.
Shut the fuck up, old man. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. What? That's right, you have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. The launch pads really were switched. There might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Center Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different than when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That's a number on the floor. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff? Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. Ah! Two! Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door, the corridor is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well, answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that? There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor in the corridor in the security footage. Do you see a number on the floor behind the astronaut? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Ugh. Oh, fuck. So that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. It doesn't fucking look like it's filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the opposite side of the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from how the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Incredible! Just the two launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think somebody noticed somebody would have noticed in the event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Look at him go. No more lies, the Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Galactic engine, ignition! What? Oh, it's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. No, not that way! Ah, shit. He's gonna have to pay to get that fixed. Bailiff, on your steed and after that witness. Damn, I can't believe they have horses at the courthouse. Courthouse, more like court horse. Look at him, he's a pathetic old man. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? No, I admit it, it's true. I switched launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. It's good to hear a word I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. No, please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could do to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. It must have been one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me. Would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I am nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. Yeah, so Clay picked him up or rather supported him over his shoulder and carried him out. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all of that? From the very beginning, you never meant the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? Babies. I love my lesbians. Look at my lesbian. She's such a happy lesbian here. She's not a mean lesbian. She's a little bit mean, but that's okay. She's mean in the right ways here. Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive. We're going to space, baby! Silence. Oh, no. Let him dream, Simon. The dream just fucking died. I'm about to kill it. You're not going to space, Starbuck, but prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pads were really switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. Ah. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. Ah, shit. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What? Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. I'm gonna die. I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. He said that to many men. Ha ha ha! Now you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Huh? That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can be none other than... Hi! Champion of Righteousness Bobby Fulbright here, edging in court. Detective Fulbright! Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice is a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats? Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that injustice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright, I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. Have you finally succumbed? Nope, but that looks like you succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding some evidence. Thanks to you two, I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm gonna work extra hard to find the perfect piece of evidence for you. Ha ha ha! Yeah. I don't think he was serious, though. Ha ha ha! Ah, yeah. So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck's innocence? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this, a lighter? That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim, Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I need. Your Honor, this decisive evidence supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall when the lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, Terrain. They escaped with this lighter in hand to the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder. The fact that Rector Cosmos testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there. But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he have not dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time? You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could have only been dropped by the real killer. Ugh. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints are nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. Ugh. Ugh. This does indeed to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume that it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence.
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Oh my god, tomorrow! Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of what? In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant Solomon Starbuck. Silence. Oh, yay, cool. It is what you think it is. It's not a wedding anniversary at all. It is, however, what you think it is, my dear. He looks so sad. Yeah, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you, and please thank Apollo for me too. You are all the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too, but that's gonna have to wait. Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Hold it.
Objection.
Objection. It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? Oh, the results? Ha 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 ha! Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and there was a catfight, and well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints were Mr. Starbuck, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. So says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? He's like, fuck my sister! That was fuck, comma, my sister. Order, I say. Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this lighter could belong only to the killer. So finding your prints on it could only lead us to one grave conclusion. What? I don't know how they got there, but I know I'm not the culprit. This can't be happening. We built up our entire argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty, so how could it have led to this? Move over, or is mine. Ah, what have I done? Please forgive me, I'm sorry. Order, Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. Shut the fuck up, you man. Be a man.
What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's really gone mad.
Order, I will have order.
He will not have order. A number 9, a number 3 supersize.
What? What bot? Oh, the one you banned earlier?
Look at you, you're making a difference, helping support the safety of Twitch. One sec. Where's my cat? Hi. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we've fought for, the truth turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason into the jaws of twisted darkness. Oh, there's my cat. Hi! Hi, Opini! Hi! Hi! Oh, my pretty girl, my pretty baby girl. Yeah. Oh, she's so cute. It's okay. We're not gonna finish it today. And I mean, we could. How long am I willing to sit here? Okay, look, I'm willing to go until midnight. I'm willing to stream this until midnight. Can you stay awake that long? Midnight is... So currently, it's 20 past 9. So it'd be 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah. Can you stay awake for 3 hours? Because if not, I'll split it into 2 parts. And you'll just have to wait for the second part. The cat's taken crack again. Vinny! After you sleep, would you want me to commit... Would you want me to continue streaming? Or would you like me to stop streaming when you go to sleep or shortly after you go to sleep? Because I'm happy to finish this, upload the VOD, so you can listen to it whilst I'm away. Okay. And then when I get back, depending on what time I get back, and if I'm not too tired, I might stream the rest of it. Look at you, so smart. Okay. Save current progress. Ooh, episode 5. Turnabout for tomorrow. This is the last case for Bax.
No one can escape their past. Oh, sick anime opening. Let me just... you guys. I'm not doing the fucking whale. The sins we've committed. The sadness we've caused. No matter how far we run, our past remains, ever present as the moon in the sky. That had a man's blood in it, Apollo. It looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. Okay. December 20th. Write Anything Agency. They took Athena from the courtroom straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. I've lost my kids. I've lost custody of my kids. Got one left. After this past year, I took it for granted that these two would always be here. But now Apollo's gone off on his own to seek his own truth. My pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. Oh my god, look at your daughter! It's even quieter here than usual. Yeah, it seems so empty too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was, at least based on what we know. But now, Athena's the one who's being accused. That's your baby girl! During the trial for the bombing and the murder that occurred in the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, innocent. Okay. Okay. I'll wait. So, how's everyone's day been? I can locate my phone. I will be slightly less bored during this. Oh, there's none left. Sorry, Vinny. What law? What do you mean? Law for what? Oh, there it is. Well, I can't give you the law for the trial. That'll spoil the trial. Silly. I'm not gonna spoil the trial. You just have to wait for me to go through all the trial. Any law from this regarding this trial you need to know is present in the trial we just played. When will my sweetheart return? I fear I am alone. Oh, okay. Hi. Cool. Sorry, I was watching a video. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. Sorry. That's why I said use the text-to-speech, but that's why I've made it like 25 points. If I don't answer for like prolonged periods of time and nothing's happening, just be like, yo, bitch, look the fuck up. I get distracted. I feel awkward just sitting here if nothing's going on. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. That's because the mic sensitivity is very, very sensitive. Yeah, it's not very accurate. I should actually fix that, come to think of it. Beep boop.
Nice job on last case, BTW. I'm still here.
Oh my god, thank you, Kirby. Here? Okay. Here. No? Yes? Here? Huh? Okay. It picks up some of it. If I say anything quietly, though, we are screwed. Nobah just won't talk. But that also means when I'm not actually... No, her prints weren't found on the bomb on the last case. Ah, okay. Do you want me to keep going, or do you want me to wait, or what do you want me to do with this? Pardon. No, they weren't found on the bomb. They were found on, They were found on the lighter. That, they were found on this lighter, but, it's the lighter that, Aura and Director Cosmos found. Saw the killer holding even. So, yeah. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. None of it does. I've been racking my brain and I just can't figure it out. I dunno. Don't remember, at least. Where's the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong with this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was still here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will, and thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial's tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go, then. We're on the hunt for some evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence. Great, but before we go, I better tidy up any evidence I have in hand. Unnecessary evidence left at the office. What have we left behind? Oh, fucking hell. Okay, 90% of it. Cool. Athena is probably still in the middle of being questioned, so Trucy's right. The thing that we can start with is talking to people at the Space Center. December 20th, Cosmos Space Center entrance. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Galactic scooter, full speed ahead. Oh, there he goes. Director! He scooted away.
His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy.
Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. And the body's still there. We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey! Oh, Starbuck! Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. It's all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough for that. Except... what's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. You saw her, Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then you know what she flashed a peace sign at me. Congrats on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can just picture it. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's gotta be suffering. She must be so worried. And yet, she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile. She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena. There's no question about it. That girl's innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be all right with you as in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo is a fine boss to look up to. About the murder. I still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? I haven't the foggiest idea. So there never was going to be a launch that day, not even from the very beginning. I wonder if Clay knew. I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. But I guess that's about how it goes, when you're worth less than space debris. Is he gonna be alright, Daddy? I think he needs a therapist. His expression looks as dark as a black hole. Well, that's just how he is. Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little bit too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police though. They said they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought, the culprit must have carried it away from them when they escaped. So, was the person you saw holding the gun Mr. Starbuck? Oh, so was the person you saw holding a gun Mr. Starbuck? Oh, was he there holding a gun? I couldn't really tell, but it wasn't Athena, right? You could tell if the person was male or female, tall or short. I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I should have been able to see. The door. Oh, yeah. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape. The door to Launchpad 1, right? Yeah, except the door leads to the Space Museum. You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museums are switched right now? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. So they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Nothing. We're just investigating, and Detective, or rather Director Cosmos, ran away from us. And Starbuck offered to go to prison so that Athena could be free. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure. Let me have my print scanned here. Well, in my defense, I did ask, but you were already gone. I tried. I know. It's just I find the investigation boring. Did the launch pads get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was Launchpad 2, I used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, Launchpad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right, because quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times are tough. I'm sorry, my love. Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond the door. Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't I come along? I can show you round. Just step over the dead body. Huh. Huh? I wonder what these dead leaves are doing here. Maybe they were stuck in the bottom of somebody's shoe? There are lots of trees around the space center. She's right. It's a modern state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. I don't know. They were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoe. When they look more crushed up, these don't look like they've been stepped on. Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor and they came in that way. No, everything's set up like... Not everything's set up like a magician's stage, you know.
She is saying daddy. Please remember, Bax, that that is a that is her father. She's a child. Like 90% sure she's still a child in this game. Yeah, she's 16. Be careful what you say. So this is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh?
Yep, but this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. You just hit the button and open sesame.
So when you and Clay went through the door, you didn't need to show your fingerprints either. I know, I just don't want you making a weird daddy joke for the 16-year-old.
That's right, Trucy. Just highlight the culprit didn't need to scan their prints when they escaped back out of the Space Museum corridor into Boarding Lounge 2. Well, I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. I imagine that the corridor is built exactly like Launchpad 1 corridor.
Oh, right.
You're presenting something to him. Do you know anything about this piece of evidence? Nah. Oh, curse the wench who sullied my good name. Reverse course and full speed away. Director Cosmos, wait!
I'll handle this, Daddy. Take that!
Gah! The mobility system has been compromised! Trucy's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires. You just let your kid walk around with knives?
And the streak continues.
Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing. I love her. My dear old battleship, we fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor.
Daddy, he's going to blow that thing up.
Nah. Ever all that button will do is make it go haywire again. Very well. I surrender. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably. Nope, we don't care about the Geneva Convention. Waterboarding! Eto bleh. I don't understand the reference. Switching the launch pads. Director Cosmos, when you were talking in the court about switching the launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in the blast. Look at your pathetic grandpa, man. Look at him, Kirby. Look at him being pathetic and old. The center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. And now that my battleship has been destroyed and I have been taken as prisoner. Ooh. Oh, that's 3 of them. Fuck. Any secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo his psych lock stick if I want to get to the bottom of this. But fucking damn it.
Take that!
Alright. It's like a mini court case outside of court. I hate it. Wanted that, I'd just go to court. I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the 2 launch pads. No, unfortunately you don't. You get to defend her in court, though, in spirit of justice. I refuse. You can't make me. I can hold out longer than anyone. I hope I never get like this when I'm old. Now let's see, where to start. This is how you explain your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it to save the astronauts. Thanks to you switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket far away from the actual explosion. My astronauts were raring to go out on an authentic adventure in space. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing? I agree you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured it out the instant they stepped into the space museum. You figured out you could fool Mr. Starbuck once he'd been drugged with his medication, but without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull your plan off.
Take that!
Yeah. You do like one case as Athena. And it's a filler case. You do get Blackwell there, though. Helping you. Figured I said that. You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you. He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then, with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket of the museum. Somebody please help this poor prisoner of war. How is he able to spin around like that? If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch? If I could have done that, don't you think I would have gone to all that trouble? I guess he must have had a compelling reason to why he couldn't call it off. But how did you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident? Well, that's because I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronauts' safety. But it was just a warning. It could have even been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely? Well, I tried. There's Ace Attorney Investigations. You can play as Miles Edgeworth. Because I went through one of those mediums that everyone keeps talking about these days. Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone. Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see, aka a regular old telephone. It's been a while, planning another launch. I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call. The bomber said, "It's been a while?" And that's enough to make you take the threat seriously. Perhaps the Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before. Alpha Wolf. I love Shilong Lang. Maybe the culprit in the current case is the same person who was involved in this incident. The Hat One. The Hat One Miracle, that epic story of survival. What the fuck is Ace Attorney 7? Is that Spirit of Justice? Or is that not even out yet? I don't know what number we're on. This is 5, isn't it? And then Spirit of Justice is... Oh, I'll just shut the fuck up then. Anyway, the Hat One Miracle, that epic story of survival. People across the nation now know it is a heroic tale of bravery, but in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by a current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about the previous plot, so when the caller said it had been a while, you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the danger was real and it wasn't a prank. Didn't anyone ever tell you to go easy on an ex-serviceman? Yes, the Hat One Miracle really was a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. Yeah, I even lost the life of one of my staff members in the fight. Sabotage, murder, so this is the ugly truth behind the Hat One Miracle. I let my guard down, and though the saboteur had been caught, and that case was closed, I thought, wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago. This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit.
Take that!
Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same, so you thought that he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell was behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant that the true culprit has been running free all this time. How do you keep seeing straight through me?
It has, hasn't it? Because we used to roleplay Spirit of Justice together. So we used to roleplay Nayuta. So yeah, it's been like nearly 10 years since an Ace Attorney game. Fucking hell! It might have actually been 10 years. When did it come out? In 2016? Let me because I know it came out on the DS. Yeah. No, I opened up the internet, you dumb phone. God. Hello? Are you trying to tell me something, baby? Okay. Yeah, it came out 9th of June 2016. Hey baby. Switching the launch pads. The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads is because the real truth is connected to the Hat 1 miracle, the sabotage and murder that happened at the Space Center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us what you're hiding. If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads. Oh my god. Yeah, because we met in August. August 16th. We'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago. Alright, Bax, this is a message for you. This is a big law drop. Get your ass here and pay attention. This is a public service announcement. Okay, there we go. Summoned her. Alright, we're cool. She's here. She's here. 7 years ago, you mean the so-called Hat 1 miracle? I'm gonna look really stupid. Baby, she's here! The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was the handiwork of a certain person in their evil scheme. So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered. Whoa! I had no idea such awful events were hiding behind that exciting story of space heroism. All that, in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personnel effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You could even smuggle a withered old leaf through those checkpoints. So, have you any clue who is responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. A spy? You mean somebody... Oh my god, it was Russia. Somebody who infiltrates a foreign country and carries out dangerous missions and always gets the girl? Someone's been watching too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket ship and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind all of it. Make no mistake, there are cutthroat rivalries between nations in the space R&D race.
Oh boy. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning us of a sabotage. The same MO as this time. Oh yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing? That's racist. But there's good reason why we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy. Don't tell me they made the police rush to the investigation. They did indeed. And then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story. And that was the Hat 1 miracle, wasn't it? But then 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it? That's right. The caller knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?" I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. "We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed for our country's honor." It was quite a moving speech, actually. Moving? Really? I mean, if you're easily inspired by political talking points. But I knew the truth. We have been warned, which means the danger was very real. I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. At first, I snuck into the center the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronauts would go from Boarding Lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put a close for repairs sign at the door to Launch Pad 1 in Boarding Lounge 2. You did that so normal visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do? I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Terran. But you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it. He already had been through enough, and he's no good at lying to keep a secret. I'm afraid I have no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until... Kelly's murder, huh? After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. I did it in such a way that nobody would find out, but after all that effort, Terran is dead and the Hat 2 is destroyed. The Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in the blast. My home, the center of the cosmos, my beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for! Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in the blast? The Hope capsule? I thought the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with the asteroid samples inside. So what kind of samples were they? What's in them? The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We hadn't the time, as they just came back the day before Terrain's murder. The capsules are being held in a safe at Launch Pad 1. Oh, the capsule was being held in a safe in Launch Pad 1. But I gave it to Terran before the incident, so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was, with it safely in Terran's possession, he could make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. But our precious research material ended up being lost in that explosion anyway. But I thought Clay was meant to keep it safe. You misunderstand. The launch pad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. It was the courtroom bombing from the other day. The capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence and was blown to smithereens. Okay, I'll keep going for like 10-20 more minutes. Yet another casualty of that blast. Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads. What? How? The police found a wiretapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship. A tap on my advanced communication system. A wire on that phone? Yes. A wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch. Just a few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of Launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid the confusion. And planted the bomb, then. Yes. If they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull off something like that. So you really think this is the same spy is behind this... that's behind this incident and the one 7 years ago? Yes, I'm sure of it. Then the spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell has been chasing. But Prosecutor Blackwell once told me, the hunt I've been on for the phantom of 7 years past continues even still. For starters, that case happening right there at this very space center. So if we can find this phantom, that's right, we can declare Athena's name. And then there's just the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell too. What about him? Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as the current incident, that would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. It's still an if, though. I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without his handcuffs. But if we're going... Oh, what? No, I haven't fixed it, Bax. You've tested it already. But if we're going to go on a ghost hunt, count me in. It's all over for me. Spin. Well, I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed. Do you think he's going to be alright, Daddy? Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into that Hat 1 mission too. If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me, I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfold. It's like he's achieved spiritual enlightenment or something. I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum. We are not, in fact, going to finish the Space Museum. I lied. We are... in fact, going to go to bed because I forgot we have a train to catch tomorrow early in the morning. So, because we are heading down to London to see the family. So, we will be going to sleep. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. This will be uploaded as a VOD on YouTube. So, yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next stream. Which won't be next week, as I will be in London until next Sunday. So, yeah. It might be next Sunday, depending on what time I get back. Okay, bye-bye.